Well, here we are, live at 5, every Wednesday, every week. This is Queen Mother Speaks. And this is Queen Mother, your host for the show. Thank you for tuning in today. We call it Wonderful Wednesday. Our co host, Nana Afua Adezawa, will not be with us today. We send her peace and love on her journey, her mission, the other assignments that she's taking on for today. Okay, so we are continuing in season 7, where our theme is transformation, innovating, creating, liberating, and changing the paradigm. So I'm going to invite you to just get yourself relaxed, okay, and enjoy the show for today. We do have an awesome show for you. This is the 4th week in the month of May, and the last week that we will be featuring our elder mothers. Now, I am expecting in the studio 2 people, and those 2 people, one of them will be talking, will be giving, who interviewed one mother, will be talking with us. And the second person will also, who talked to the mother in the village, will also be translating for us as well. As of this moment, they haven't entered the studio, but guess what we're going to do? We're just going to go right along with what it is we have planned for today. Again, this is Queen Mother Speaks, where we will have on the show today our elder mothers who are 80 years old and plus. In fact, I'll tell you a little later what that in fact is about. Please go ahead, hit the like button, the share button, and the comment button. I'd like to give a shout out to our viewing audience today. Abimbola, Lady Mo, Miss Ursula Anderson, Michelle, Ernestine, High Priestess Say Shot, as well as Carmen and Tina, all tuning in from Atlanta, Georgia. And in studio today, who we're going to have, this is again the last of the series on our Mother's Day salutes. So it's Happy Mother's Day to our custodians of wisdom. This week, we do have in the house the Sankofa elder, Professor Al Gaskins, will be tuning in to the studio, I hope, later. We also have on the show today Mama Ama Fima. Mama Ama Fima, clocking in at 133 years old. I don't know, y'all. She might be the oldest person on the planet as far as I know. But we're going to check with the Guinness Book of Records after the show or during over the weekend and see who else may be there. Also, our second guest on the show today will be Mama Ama Frimpoaa. Mama Ama Frimpoaa. Interesting that both names, interesting that both of their first names are Ama. Okay, and we'll also have Crown Sister Shahyahrah greeting us from the land of Israel. She'll be coming in and talking to us today as well. So I'd like for this is the time that we would have them greet the audience, but as they're not here, we're just going to continue on with the show. So if this is your first time tuning into Queen Mother Speaks, we want to thank you for being here because we know that there's like so many other things that you could be doing, but you chose to come and be with us today, and we like that. We thank you for that. We have men and women and youth who will be on the show, who will be showing us their innovative projects and their transformative works. Plus, we have special shows like we have today, which is, in fact, um, saluting our mothers. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, who would you like to see on the Queen Mother Speak show? Who would you like to see on the Queen Mother Speak show? So all you have to do is to click on facebook.com. Well, that's how you go to the show. You would go to info.queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com. Info.queenmotherspeaks@info.com. If you go there and send us who you want on the show, give their name and contact information, we will take it all from right there. We will take it all from right there. I'd like to once again thank our guests, hoping that they will make it into the studio today. I know that they're having a huge downpour of rain in Ghana, so that may have something to do with it, but over here in Nairobi. It's a beautiful day and we're loving it. We're loving it. Hello to Ambimbola tuning into the Queen Mother Speaks studio. I am the only one in the studio right now today, so I cannot be posting comments and speaking as well, but I'll give you a shout out later. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I would like to give blessings to all of our faithful fans and happy birthday to the May born. I know that I have a niece, Miss Kathy King, out of Detroit, Michigan, who is celebrating her birthday on tomorrow, May 26th. And also, we have a singer, Igusu, who is from Spain but currently living in Nairobi. He's having a birthday in the month of May as well. To all of those people over there on the West Coast, thank you for your early rising. Thank you for your early rising to get up and listen to and hear Queen Mother Speaks. So I'm saying hello to Red, who is that Adisa. I'm seeing Kwashi, okay, Tashmia and Nyla, all tuning in from San Francisco, California. And Lady Mo is in San Francisco, California at this time. Hello to my beautiful sisters. Queen Mother loves you. Have a great time. Keep me informed. Keep me in touch with all the great things that you're doing during this visit. Okay, I'm going to ask you to continue to wash your hands and continue to stay safe. Not because the government is asking you to, but because it's the right thing to do. And it's also a very, 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 very good habit to have. I found myself doing COVID like you, washing my hands all the time. So now I just stay with that. That is indeed a very good thing, a very good thing. Thank you again for tuning into Queen Mother Speaks. This is a safe space for information, inspiration, and expression. So, right now, I want to acknowledge our guests who were on the show from last week, Miss Angela Carlucci of Italy at 93 years old. And she was there with her grandson, Nico, and Kwak, who was also there. And I just want you to know the story of Miss Angela. When we started looking for mothers in the month of February and March, she was fine and she had agreed to do the show. But as we got over to the month of March, I'm sorry, as we got over to the month of May for Mother's Day, she found herself hospitalized. But you know what she did? She still called her grandson, Nico, from Milan and had him travel to the outskirts of the city so he could come and visit her at the hospital. And she actually did her interview from the hospital bed. He went and talked to her. She spoke in the language. She's Italian, so she speaks the Italian language and did her interview. Wasn't that great? Wasn't that great? Looks like someone's trying to come in. Let's see who we're getting in the studio at this moment. Okay, I believe that is Miss Aisha coming into the studio now. We see a lot of ceiling, Aisha. Ask you to come closer. I'm gonna ask you to come closer to the screen. Can you hear me? Come closer to the screen. Bring your face closer. You see how I'm coming closer? Bring your face closer to the screen, please. Go back to the one view and continue where we were. And what we were talking about is giving thanks to the people who were in the studio last week. So, Mama Colucci out of Italy, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for that. Also, last week in studio, we had on the show Miss Mama Martha Green, a humanitarian from her heart. She was here on last week. So we'll be back to you, Aisha. She was here on last week. So we thank her for being on the show with us as well. And she gave us a website where you can contribute to the work she's doing. Okay. Also, I just want to speak to and say that Bonga Dada Bonga, which is a new platform for women voices here in Kenya, is here. And you can catch them on Thursday at 7 p.m. Go to facebook.com. That's 5 p.m. Kenya time. Go to facebook.com/bonga Dada Bonga. Okay, so we do understand the importance of celebrating fathers. And so in the month of June, Queen Mother Speaks will be having Happy Father's Day. Okay, and on the Happy Father's Day, that will be to our custodians of wisdom. So during the entire month of June, just as we've celebrated mothers in March, we will be celebrating our fathers and our brothers, okay, in the month of June. So, what we're asking you is for men whom you know, please send us their name, their information. Send us their name and their information. And what we will do is feature them on the Queen Mother Speaks show. Okay? But we do need you to send us the information now. We're looking for men that are 80 years plus, give or take, and we want them to be able to hear, to talk and speak, so they can come live on air and share some words of wisdom with you as the mothers have done. Right? Very well, very well. So we are looking for men. So let us hear from the elders in your life by sending us again their name, their age, and the contact information. And we, of course, will take it from there. You can send that to info@queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com, info.queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to go ahead and get it done now so you don't forget it. Thank you, and thank you very much. So, what is Queen Mother Speaks? Queen Mother Speaks is a community platform, okay, where we do conversations on issues that matter. We give commentary to help raise your awareness, to inform you, to ignite you to action. We want you to laugh, and we give you updates on expatriating to Africa and words on newsworthy events. We have wisdom from the elders, as we will have today, and we do warm and witty dialogue, okay, with our guest. And one of our guests have come into the studio today, and we thank her for that. Now, our meditation and reflective reading that we normally do, I may not do it today. It just depends on how many people make it into the studio. But normally, when we have a full house like we do today, okay, we just skip over doing the meditation and the breathing exercises and the reading. So we're gonna move ahead with the program as is, and if people are not tuning in, then we can always go back and do a daily word for you and with you. Okay, one of the people we're expecting on the show is Professor Al Gaskins from the Sankofa Elders. He has not come in as of yet. Let me just check to see if there's any message. Okay, I don't see a message from him. Hopefully, he'll come in before the day is over. Okay, so now we're going to add to the stream Miss Aisha, okay, and bring her in. So, Aisha, what we'd like for you to do is to make the screen so we don't see the ceiling. Can you come closer? Aha, that's what Queen Mother would like. Okay, go back just a little bit, just a little bit. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to Miss Aisha. Aisha lives in Ghana. I met her on one of my visits to Ghana. She is a very enterprising young woman, doing so many things in business. But before we go to talking about Mama Ama Fima, let's talk a little bit about you. Tell them about some of your projects. Say hello to the listening audience.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doctor. Hello, everyone, honorable members on this platform.
All
I'm very
right.
happy to be part of it today. My name is Eunice Aisha Godson.
Mm.
I'm a revenue officer with the Ghana Revenue Authority Custom Division. Jesus Ark Foundation is an NGO who sees to the needs of the less privileged, and
Mm-hmm.
also a member of the Queen Mothers Foundation of Ghana, and the Watch Your
Mm-hmm.
Tongue NGO, also a member over there. I'm also a farmer, apart from being in the government sector. I'm a farmer, and I grow cashew, most of them, and a few of cocoa and other crop. I'm also a herbal practitioner. I have a herbal clinic. I produce herbal medicine and have a health center. And our main vision is to see to the less
Uh-huh. Okay, very well.
privileged
I will say to you, Aisha, what's
as
that drink on my last visit to
I
Ghana I purchased from you?
said.
Okay, looks like the sound is going in and out on her end, but we know that Ghana is having a huge downpour. So we're lucky to even get her
Yeah.
with such a heavy. What is the name of the juice that I purchased from you the last time I was in Ghana?
We have the Feel of Heaven juice.
Okay, not the one right
Yeah,
now, but
it's
the
good for
last
you.
one. No, no, the last one
Yeah,
I
the last
purchased from
one,
you.
yeah, yeah, it's a Feel of Heaven noni juice. Noni, we use the
Noni
noni
juice.
product for it. Yeah, we have the noni juice.
That's right. I landed in Ghana, and Aisha came over to visit, and she was telling me about the noni juice. I told her to bring me some, let me try it. And the whole time I was in Ghana, I drank nana juice. And when I got ready to come back to Kenya, we brought some back over here with us as well. Now it's finished now. It was in liquid form. So it's heavy
Yes.
to ship in liquid form.
Yeah,
But I
is it?
think she
That
wound
is
up
it.
getting it did you wind up getting it in powdered form?
Yeah, we are working on that. We are working on
Okay.
that, and very soon we are going to get in the powder. Maybe by 2 months' time. We are waiting for the
Uh-huh.
FDA to give us approval on that. And if the FDA
Okay, very
certifies
good.
everything, then
Very
we
good.
can now make it in a commercial quantity.
Very good. Well, our Queen Mother will be purchasing it from you, shipping in from
Yes,
Ghana that way because the bottles were very heavy in terms of freight and
yes,
shipping, but I'm sure the little
yes,
powdered bags will be just
yeah,
fine. Now, on
yeah,
just recently again, ladies and gentlemen, I had a colleague here from Kenya to visit Ghana for a conference, and she and Aisha Eunice got a chance to meet, and Eunice sent me back another product that she has. Tell us about that product.
yeah. That is a cashew fruit juice.
Okay.
I use the cashew fruits to produce liquor out of the juice that we extract from the cashew. Because in Ghana we have that particular fruit all over the country, and the farmers don't know exactly what to use it for. They only concentrate on the cashew nuts. And after harvesting the nuts, they throw the fruit away. So, upon the
Mm,
research and by the grace of God, what I came out with is the fruit that was used to make cashew liquor, which has
okay.
45% natural alcohol in it. And we have other one which is 32%. And we are trying to work it so that it can come down and make, yeah. And it's very good for everyone. So that was the sample I gave you.
Yes. Now, I hope you're following this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, because what she's telling us is, the cashew peanut is basically what all of us love to eat. But Aisha, the cashew peanut actually grows as a fruit. And it is the fruit
Yeah.
part of the cashew peanut that she has now taken
Mhm.
and somehow extracted it into a liquid form. And she is now bottling it and selling it. And she's telling us that that
Mhm.
cashew has 45% natural alcohol in it.
Mhm.
Aisha hasn't
Yeah.
tried it, but I do intend to try it over this weekend. We've had so much
Uh-huh.
going on in Kenya, but this weekend I do intend to try it, and I will be making note of what it is I'm getting.
That is
Okay,
wonderful.
from when I
That
try
is
this week.
wonderful.
Now, how much am I supposed to take at one time?
Oh, you can
How
take just
much?
a tot with ice or mix with. That
How
is about
much?
20 to 30 mil. 20 to 30 mil.
But what is that? Is that like a tablespoonful, a teaspoonful? What is that?
Yeah, that is tablespoonful.
Okay. And
Yeah.
will I feel the
Yeah.
alcohol in it with the tablespoonful?
You will not feel it like you've taken the normal alcohol that we know, like the whiskey or all those wine and other things. This one, when you take it, it makes you relax. You
Okay.
see, you taking in something, it's a natural, but it relaxes your system, your nerves, and your body reacts to it. Like you've taken a more or less like a bit of sleeping tablets. Let me put it that way. It doesn't make you
Okay.
feel
So I
like
can.
I've taken alcohol, I'm feeling drowsy and this kind of, yeah, it makes like taking a sleeping tablet. It
Okay.
relaxes
So
your
with one.
system and then it
Uh-huh.
calms you down.
So with one tablespoonful, it will allow me to relax. But if I want to feel a buzz, how
Yes.
many tablespoons would I need to take?
That one, it depends on your capacity.
Oh,
Depend
but
on your
you don't have any
capacity.
idea? Maybe
Yeah.
3 tablespoons or four?
Oh, to be honest with you, I gave one to somebody who is not done with the stroke. And
Uh-huh.
she took 2 tablespoons. And for her, it's very good for her. And she wants to go to 3 tablespoons. And I said no, because she can eat, she can relax. And now she's feeling far better, not like
Very
before.
good, very good.
And she's even
Well, ladies
requesting
and
for
gentlemen,
more.
yes. Well, you've heard it here on Queen Mother Speaks, and I am going to give it a try over the weekend, and I'll be speaking with Aisha, and I will also be speaking back with you. Let's get to the subject of the matter for today, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to be talking about Mama Ama Fima. Now, here's what I
Mm-hmm.
found out about her. When she was just a little girl, just a little
Mm-hmm.
girl, it was a rebellion going on in Ghana, and that
Yeah.
rebellion was called the War of the Golden Stool. How many of
Yeah.
you have heard about the Golden Stool? Well, when Mama Ama was a little girl, maybe about 10, 11 years old, that war was going
Mm-hmm.
on. And it took place from March through September of 1900. This was also during the time when Ya Asantewa, the queen mother
Mm-hmm.
of the Asantehene, led the
Mm-hmm.
rebellion, which resulted in the death of over 1,000 British soldiers and about 2,000 Ashanti men. Now,
Yeah.
as we all know, the British eventually subdued that rebellion and they sent
Mm-hmm.
Asantewa into exile in a place called Seychelles, which is really not that far from Kenya. But from that
Mm-hmm.
point, the British controlled Ghana until its independence in 1957. So now, here we are. Mama Ama Fima was a young girl during
Mm-hmm.
that time, but as she grew up, right, she lived throughout
Yeah.
that era. I don't know if she actually knew Ya Asantewa or not, but she did grow up during that era. So now, what we've done with her, we have
Mm-hmm.
a video of her where she is being
Mm-hmm.
talked to, but I've not been able to get that into my system, Aisha. Do you have it on your phone? Let's see if we can hear it from there. The video of Mama on your cell phone. Do you hear me? Can you, Aisha, I'm asking if you can play the video. Oh, well, as you see, Aisha just went out. But let me tell you a little bit more about Mama Anna. It was yesterday that they went into the village and they shot just so we could see her moving around. They asked her a few questions and she did answer those questions. And it's all in the language. And that's what they were going to be on the show today to be interpreting what she had to say. I also want to give acknowledgement to Pastor Isaac in the village, who's the one who actually took the video in the village and sent it to Aisha, who lives in the city of Accra. Okay, but here is the story of Mama Anna. She says her mother gave birth to 9 children, and she was the 5th born from her mother. She was born in a place called Aboab, Aboab, in the old town called Amafonso. Looks like she's trying to come back in. Let's see. I don't see her photo, so we'll wait a minute. So Mama was born in the old town called Amifomo. Okay. Also, Aisha, you're back. So now we've started on the questions.
Mother.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a video.
Okay. Well, we're going to continue to talk because we are live. Okay. So as you can see, Aisha's going in and out, so we'll continue. So she was born in Aboab, the Amafonso town. She is a small scale farmer herself, and she says she's been farming since her childhood up until the year of 2017. In the year of 2017, she got an injury on her leg, and that basically took her out of farming or basically retired her from that point. Okay, she did get married. She said she got her husband from a town called Amasu, which is not too far from where she lived. But she said she was going to visit her auntie, and in the process of visiting her, she met her husband. She also went on to say that before she got serious with that man, and before she brought him into her family, and before she finally said yes to him, she made sure that her family knew of him and knew where he was from. So she didn't want to just bring in a stranger to her family, but eventually they did marry. Okay. And once they got married, she gave birth to 9 children. Okay. And out of those 9 children, I think she said there's about 5 of them still alive. There's 4 males and 1 female that she bore that's still alive. Many of her sisters and brothers have already passed on. Okay. Many have already passed on. But the advice that Mama Ama, AMA, Ama Fima, has for us is this: everyone should do good to other people without thinking about whether that person is a good person or a bad person. She's saying you should just be good to other people and do things to help them just because. And the second word of advice she gave for us to give to you is simply this: wait until your time for you to receive that which you are to receive. She said, just wait until your time. And your time, she said, will come. Okay. Those are the words for, let's see if well, she's not quite ready to get back into the studio, but if Aisha is able to get back into the stream, we will have her give us some more of the camera. Oh, here she is. Okay.
The network is a
There we
bit
are.
bad here.
Okay, so here's what we've been doing, Aisha, in your absence. We've been talking about Mama Fima, and I have gone over a lot of what was said when we did the interview with her. Tell me, you told me that you attended her birthday party when she turned how old?
130.
You attended that
That
birthday
was,
party. What year was that?
yeah, 2019.
2019. So if in fact she did have her birthday party at 1:30
Yeah.
in 2019, that would mean that today she is what? What is her age today?
133.
133 years old. Now, when Aisha told me this, I was like, I don't know now. Wait a minute,
133.
133. I don't know anybody that old ever. Not like old is bad, but that age. I didn't know anyone
Yes.
that age. Are there any kind of records that you may have to talk about that? And I'm going to put you on screen to tell us about that. Tell us about what happened at the 130th birthday party.
Yeah, on her birthday party, I was in the village to do my normal donation as an NGO
Aisha, can you hear us?
person as it is.
So how many
I
people
was there
showed up
with
at the party?
a friend and a husband from US, Mr. and Mrs. Susu Zinaba. And on our way
Ah,
from
they
our
won't
outreach
come at this
program,
time.
we heard a lot of people making noise here and there. Pardon me,
Uh-huh.
doctor, I didn't hear you.
Are there
Hello, doctor,
are
can you
there
hear
any?
me?
Yes, I can hear you. My question, Aisha,
Yeah,
is are there any
yeah.
records today? Are there any records to
Mm-hmm.
verify or to help us solidify Mama's real age?
From what I gathered from some few people in the community, it was mostly an event that they could refer to that this thing took over within the community and she was there. But in terms of documentation, they didn't have anything like that. It was later on that I spoke to one elderly man who is also about
Hmm.
about 100 years plus. I think around 105 or so.
Uh-huh.
He is a bit educated person who can speak English. So he's the one who said that woman is older than him. And if his
Ah,
memory served him right, his senior brother, that was he
we're missing everything you're saying. Aisha, we're missing everything you're saying. The reception is very bad, but what you're establishing for
he's
us
the
is her sisters and
fifth
brothers.
born after that brother. That brother
Okay.
was a friend to this woman, Mama Fima. And if
Hmm.
he quite remember, before the independence, the government came to another district, the town called Domahinkro, to look for a land to build secondary school for that community.
Hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, from what I heard from someone in that village, a certain
Hmm.
man who is a bit over 100 years said his
Uh-huh.
senior brother was a friend to this Mama Fima,
Hmm.
and a school age woman. And the time the secondary school was built in that community, 1947, they Mama Fima and the brother already have children. I think they have three children each or four children or so. So that is what he
Hmm.
can remember for us from the
Okay.
village because at that time there was no
Mm.
car and no schools that matter. So when government said they were coming to put up a secondary school for that village, they all went on foot to go and see the school and they visited the place in 1947. That was
Hmm.
what the old man told me. Yeah.
I see. I see. Does Ghana have a way of finding out how to record the ages? Looks like there's a lot of elders in Africa that live to be over 100 years old. That doesn't happen a lot in America. Okay. But it looks like from the conversation I've had with you and about four others that many of our elders do get to live up to 100 and over. My question is I'm wondering if Mama Anna is the oldest person still living. And we'll have to find out, like I say, through the Guinness World Book of
Yeah.
Records, which we'll check over the weekend. Anything else you want to tell us about Mama Fima, Aisha?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell us about her?
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
go ahead. Okay, I'm not sure if she's hearing me, but what I want to
Hmm.
do at this time, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to bring up another
Okay.
mother.
In terms of the age, what we try to do, because there's no records over there from the government sector, from the birth and death, or
Mhm,
from other people. You know, here when you go to the rural areas, they only use
mhm.
events and other people, and mostly they use the date of their firstborn,
Uh-huh.
and then they calculate how long they were
From
before
there.
they gave birth. Then you can work it out something for them. But in terms of documentation, there's nothing like the actual date of birth. Her husband Solomon's birth. We wanted the actual age, the 130 years that they were celebrating.
Mhm,
And nobody was able to confirm exactly that was all that they said. The woman is old and they believe that is her age. So we
mhm.
decided, and she said her firstborn had 7 years or so, about 3 or 4 children before finally that child who was 96 years that we met was born. So we use about
Ah,
the years that she lost about 4 children
mhm,
before she had this child. So if it takes a whole 9 months to deliver, at what month did she lose the first child? Was the child born and she lost it, or during the pregnancy it was a miscarriage? So looking at all those incidents, we
mhm.
took it like maybe if it took her 4 years to have a miscarriage plus her 35 years, that means she was 40 years. So if she was 40 years and her firstborn is 96 years, adding 40 to 96 years give us some kind of belief that what they are saying is somehow true. So that was how we
Uh-huh.
did our calculation, looking at the age of the firstborn. And at that
Okay.
time, 30 years or 30 years plus before you get married, and there was nothing like that, that her date of birth
Uh-huh.
or there's somebody that we can relate to make that, apart from her age mates who are also within
Mhm.
110, 120 years. Another network.
This is exciting, Aisha, because what we're talking about, as I can hear it, we're talking about a thing that I'm going to call the 100 Club. This is the 100 Club.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there, I don't know who've done any research on how many elders in Africa are getting to live over 100 years old, but right now, you're talking to me about four or five people who are either in their
Yeah.
late 90s or 100 and over. That sounds like a 100 club. The next time I set foot in the land of Ghana, I want to learn more
Mm-hmm.
about that. I want to learn more
Yeah.
about that. Thank you for that, Aisha. We're going to move on and talk about
Mm-hmm.
another. Anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, like you said, you are coming to Ghana, and I hope you come soon. Beside that, there's a program for youth in Africa coming on in October, either 29th October or 5th November. We are now looking for the venue to confirm the date. But what we are going
Yes.
to do is we want to empower the youth in Africa. Some of us going through the rural
Yes.
communities,
Yes. In fact, I
doing
am.
charity work and other things. I've
Uh-huh.
realized that the youth in Africa
Mm-hmm.
have unique potentials. What they need is a financial support, technology for them to do. We have almost all the resources we need in Africa. We have everything. We are
Okay.
not dumb, we are not
Okay.
stupid. We are people who
Mm-hmm.
can create things out of nothing. Because in Ghana, we
Yes.
have some of the youth who went to some of the tertiary institutions. They are now using plastic waste mixed with sand to mold blocks and build houses. And with this flood and other things, can never wash away those things because plastic cannot be washed away by water if it's
Mm.
loaded with other materials. And that is what some of them are using to build houses now in Ghana. And that is what some of them are using to build
Mm. Now
are
that
very
is
also
coming up
into
very.
cashew today. We have so many things you can do with the cashew. Apart from the cashew liquor that I have now, we can do the cashew fruit juice, like smoothie
Mhm.
and other things. We can have the cashew nuts. Somebody here from US came and taught us how to use the cashew nut for cheese, which is very, very delicious. Cashew cheese. Very wonderful. I've never tasted any cheese like that. And we have all these things in Africa. We have the youth. We have our parents. Most of them are farmers. But how does the youth transform these things from the farming sector into a proper marketing agenda? If my parents are cocoa farmers, how do I process the other raw materials from cocoa? Instead of always depending on export, locally, what can we do? Can we get investors within the African continent who will invest in the African owned products? Can we get,
Mhm.
Africa is very big. We can trade among ourselves. So, how do we encourage and motivate the youth to get into that? Because with the cashew chaff, when you take the juice out of it, I tried it in my community. We used it to make
Mm.
use the chaff mixed with the poultry
Okay.
feed and give it to
Aisha,
the
what I'm
poultry
going to
farmers.
do,
And it's
yes.
very nice and wonderful. We don't need to wait for Ukraine war to stop to import wheat and other things from other countries. We have it here.
Hmm. Very well. Aisha, I would
Okay,
like to
I'm
take this
listening to you,
time
Queen.
and I would like to take this time and move on to our next guest on the show. Her name is Crown Sister
Queen Madam, I'm waiting for you.
Shahyahrah.
I thought you were saying something.
Yes, I am. I want to introduce the next guest. I'm going to introduce the next guest on the
Okay,
show. Okay. Her name is Crown Sister Shahyahrah B.
that's
Israel.
good.
Her formal education began in Bermuda.
Okay,
Then she spent time in New York City,
okay,
Green
okay.
Mountain Junior College in Vermont. Excuse me. Then
Mhm.
she went to the University of the District of Columbia, where she received her BA in education. She went on to seek, however, her MA in drama and education from Washington State, and she
Mhm.
received her PhD in the New World Chronicles School from the School of the Prophets in Dimona, Israel. Now, throughout her entire employment history, she's always been involved with children, whether it was a newborn, 18 months old, 4 years old, 14 years old, okay, whatever. She's always dealt with youth and children and been involved in
Mhm.
education. So we do have a clip of her. I want to see if we can bring that on right now. Just stay right there. And let me just say hello to Dennis. We see that you're there. And hopefully we'll have a chance to cover the story of our other Mama Anna before the show is over. But right now, what I want us to do is we are going to see if we can pull up this video of Crown Sister Shahyahrah from Israel. Okay, let's see. I'm hoping you can see that. Can you see that? Okay, let's try
Hello.
again. So let's go to the video file.
Hey,
Just one
Dennis.
moment.
Mama.
Okay, we want to play this video. I hope it will come up for
Why
us.
today?
I think it's going to come up. It's a beautiful day. And this is Queen Mother, bringing to you Queen Mother Speaks. As you know, in the month of May, we've been celebrating our elders, and we have a program that's called Happy Mother's Day, putting
Please
a
turn off
tribute
your
and a
please turn off
salute
your mic.
to our elders,
Mute your mic.
and also Happy Mother's Day to our custodians of wisdom. And so today we have a recording with our beautiful sister out of Israel, and she's going to be sharing with us her story, how the Lord has blessed her, and the generations and generations and generations of people who she has helped through the area called education. We all know about education. I've had the pleasure, if you will, of meeting her. I'm going to bring her in now so you can get a chance to meet her as well. You want to say hello to the viewing audience?
Hello to the viewing audience. First, giving all praises to the the
Yes,
most eternal high.
very good. Ladies and gentlemen, today on Queen Mother Speaks, I bring to you Crown Sister Shahyahrah. Crown Sister Shahyahrah. God
Yes, wonderful.
Israel, who is coming to you out of Israel's today. Okay.
Yes.
And she will be speaking with us. I guess my very first question to you, Crown Sister, would be what is the story behind your name?
Well, my name is Shayara, and Shayara means in Hebrew a carrier of Yah's wisdom. So,
Ah, isn't that wonderful? If you have your phone on, I'm going to ask you to put it on mute so we don't get any feedback. Means
all right,
carrier
hold
of
on.
wisdom. That is just great. So, isn't that interesting that this whole show is about our elders and our custodians of wisdom? And there we have your name, meaning a carrier of wisdom. That is just
Right.
wonderful. Let me ask you, what are some of your favorite childhood memories?
Oh my goodness. I guess the greatest memory that I have is I was raised in Bermuda. I was born in New York City, but I
Hmm.
was raised in Bermuda.
Hmm.
And we lived very close to the beach, to the ocean. And I guess two of my favorite things was one, going to the beach, being on the beach all day, most of the time. That was our playground. You know, building sand
Ah,
castles, jumping in the
okay.
water, splashing around. And I guess my second one was climbing we had a huge mulberry tree in our backyard. And in order to avoid chores, because every
Hmm.
time adults saw you, they'd have you do something. So I used to climb up in that mulberry tree with a
Uh-huh.
good book and eat mulberries and hide and read. And those were my two favorite things to do as a child.
Growing up. What a great memory. Now, I remember climbing a tree too, but I was climbing the tree trying to get either plums, okay, or peaches. And I remember one day my brother found me climbing the tree and he gave me a spanking like my mother never had.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Well, the tree didn't belong to us. It was a neighbor's tree, and I really had no business in her yard. And I didn't realize that.
Right.
I just saw them big old plums up in that tree, and I decided I wanted to have some. So I climbed up there
Yeah,
and I
I
got them. But
understand.
I got a huge spanking as a result of that. Do you remember your first job? Your very
My
first job?
my very first job, I guess, would be when I was in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And I worked in. I was with the American Friends Committee.
Oh,
It,
okay.
and I taught in a school. I also taught in the jail, and I also worked with the Potter's family. And I guess those were my first jobs. Um,
Okay.
and I think the job that really was a pivotal job was a second job I got, which was when I was in the United States, which was
Uh-huh.
in Oregon. We had hitchhiked from Mexico City to Oregon, and
Hmm.
it was in Oregon that I got my first introduction to formalized teaching. I worked in a daycare center, and that's when I discovered that really and
Okay.
truly that was my passion, was working with uh, teaching.
Ah,
Yeah. So,
wow. Wow. How
mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Well,
great.
and of course, once you figured that out, that particular profession stayed with you for the rest of your life, didn't it?
For the rest of my life, even
Yeah,
until today.
for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
Did you know at that point that would be the mission that God and Spirit had chosen for you?
Well, I don't think I was conscious about it, but it was the thing that I kept reaching for and the thing that kept happening in my life. Because after that,
Okay.
I just continued to work in that field. And then finally went to
Okay.
school and got my degrees, the necessary certificates, and so forth to make it a profession.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
In reading your extensive bio, I see that you taught in a lot of places, a lot of different
Yes.
countries,
Yes.
a lot of different cities, and you
Yes.
seems like you also just continued to update yourself in education and get certifications as they were needed. Because I
Right.
saw something that was at a daycare for kids, something called Fruit and Apples or something like
Fruit,
that.
fruit and flower. That was in San
Fruit and
Francisco.
Flowers Daycare. So,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, I want
it
you to
was a
know that. Go ahead.
it was a very exclusive private nursery
Uh-huh.
where the elite went, and I think that that was my introduction to realizing that education was more than just teaching, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but that it had to
Mhm.
do with the freeing of the young, freeing of the talents that Yah has given us,
Mhm.
and making children able to reverence who they are. And that
Okay.
was where
Okay.
that was the seed there. That was the seedling.
Ah, okay. Very, very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll have you to know that from newborns to 18 months, 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, you name it. Crown Sister has been training and teaching for a very, very long time. In fact, in an earlier conversation, I was asking her how long did she teach in Israel, and then how long did she also teach in America? And we discovered that she has actually been teaching for 65 years plus.
Right.
65 years plus.
Right.
That is a major monumental story, my Lord. And no telling how many students you've come across over that period of time. I want to switch up questions a little bit. I don't know, but let me ask you, did you have a spouse? And if you did, how did you meet your spouse?
Well, now that story is one that I don't know how my audience will look, but I think I had one, two, three, four spouses. At
What?
different times, of course. At
Oh, okay,
different
okay,
times. Yeah.
okay. Wow. Then you know what? I'm going to invite you back for that story.
And
Okay.
that's
We
quite a
won't.
story.
Yeah, we'll invite you back for sure to catch that story, the four spouse story. I'm sure all of us will want to hear that. Okay. Tell me about your parents. Do you know how your
Right.
parents met?
Yes. Well, do I know how they met? Let me think. Um, my mother was an artist from St. Louis, and my
Okay.
father was l- he was a he did a lot of different things to make a living, but his real passion was he was a lyric baritone, an opera singer,
Mhm.
and sang
Okay.
and knew Paul Robeson and some of the other greats
Is
in
it?
the field. And so he told me to he forced I say forced because I really didn't like it, but he forced me to learn how to play the piano because his
Mm.
idea was that I would play the piano and he would sing his opera uh, arias or whatever. But it never came to that. So
Ah.
how they met, I'm not quite sure, but
Okay.
they were, like I said, they were people who were very, very much into the culture, and
Okay.
that's where I got a lot of my love of music and stuff. Even though I can't sing, and I
Ah.
play the piano a little bit, and I play the guitar a little bit, and the cello a little bit.
Ah.
But these were things that I felt I needed to be an effective teacher. So,
I see.
yeah, right.
Mm, mm. What do you remember most about your mom and dad?
Um, my mother actually abandoned me when I was 6 months old. So I don't remember, of course. And
Ah.
so I never saw her until I was about 13 years old. But my
Mm-hmm.
father was a very amazing an amazing man because he never spoke ill of her, and he
Mm-hmm.
always made me feel very respectful of her. And so
Okay.
we ended up having a very, very close relationship, my mother and I. But
Mm-hmm.
my father and I were really, really very close. And he
Mm.
delighted in challenging my mom when I was growing up. And we used to
Mm-hmm.
have these long debates about politics and social affairs and you name it, whatever it
Mm.
was, philosophy. We would have these long debates and arguments. And now I
Mm-hmm.
know he's just trying to force me to think. So now I almost overthink everything. So
Uh-huh. I think my next question you kind of answered for me because I wanted to ask what were your happy memories that you cherish forever. I think you've given me some of those already, haven't you?
I have definitely,
And
yeah.
if there's anything else you want to add to that?
Oh my goodness. There's so many things that Yah has blessed me with in my life that it's
Okay.
really difficult
Okay.
to know all the things that have brought
Yes.
me great joy and a great
Okay.
deal of learning and what have you.
Well, you told me already that one of your precious memories was climbing up in that mulberry tree and eating the mulberries while you were reading, but I figured if there was anything else you wanted to share, okay, but if not, we can go to the next question. Okay, the
Yeah,
next question would be, what are the most important lessons, right, that you have learned in life?
I think if I there's so many lessons that I've learned in life
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many challenges, and each challenge that you meet teaches
Mm-hmm.
you another lesson.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
which one of the challenges and which one of the lessons are highest in my mind is really difficult to tell.
Okay.
However, I can say that um, I guess the greatest thing that I've ever learned, I think, among
Mm-hmm.
other great things that I've learned, is
Mm-hmm.
that Yah is always in charge.
Okay.
And that gives me great comfort because that
Okay.
means no matter what, Yah is in charge. and I don't
Hmm.
really have to stress so much about different things or different
Well,
answers to different challenges because Yah is always in charge.
yeah, it's large and in charge. I love it. I love it. So now the next question is, who, if anyone, has influenced you the most in your life? And it's not a person, it could be an act or a deed, but what has greatly influenced you, would you
Oh
say?
my goodness.
It could be your
Again,
mother, your father, a teacher, but just pick one or two and share with us.
well, I can say I can remember when I was in grade school that I had a
Uh-huh.
teacher named Beryl Douglas in Bermuda, and
Hmm.
somehow or another, she was the catalyst for my always searching for truth.
Hmm.
And but along the way, there were many, many, many helpers helping me in my quest for truth, and so it's very difficult. At different times of my life, there were different needs, there were different challenges, and always Yah put a teacher, a guide, someone in my life that
Okay.
helped me to move forward and to continue my search, and even right down to today.
Mm, how wonderful, how beautiful. And thank you
Hmm.
for sharing that with us. Well, I've pretty much just got one more question for you, and that
Hmm.
is, what life advice would you want to pass on to the younger generation? You can do advice for a young man, or you could do advice for young women, or you could just collectively give us all some words of advice.
Well, I think collectively, the thing that is to me what young people need to know, and it may be rejected because of what it sounds like. It sounds like I'm going to talk about religion, but I'm not. I'm going to talk about a very practical Yahweh, a very
Mm-hmm.
practical creator, that
Hmm.
all that you need to know, everything that you need to think, feel, say, and do
Hmm.
comes from Yah himself. And
Okay.
if young people would study
Hmm.
the Bible, they would
Hmm.
find that that is a book of great, great wisdom.
Hmm.
I think the way we've been looking at it is too often it looks like religion. But if
Hmm.
you take any one of the lessons, any one of the stories, and you
Hmm.
look for the eternal idea in it, you'll find out that
Wow.
these are answers to our everyday practical problems.
Hmm.
If we were to follow all that Yah has commanded us to do, we would have no problems with marriage, no marital problems. All of those things are
Okay.
answered. So you have to study.
Hmm.
And if I send any advice to anyone, it would be to you really have to study. You have to
Okay.
study and realize that life is purposeful, and that
Hmm.
Yah has outlined for us how He wants us to live and what we can do. And I think if we were
Wow.
to follow Yah's plan and study His laws and study the things that the lifestyle that He wants for us, He's taught us how to eat. The perfect
Yes.
diet is in
Okay.
Genesis 29. You know, the
Hmm.
way in which we are to relate to one another.
All
Um,
right.
all of that is all encapsulated in the book. And the thing is that once you see that, you'll
Hmm.
realize, first of all, we will fire the psychiatrist and and all of the people who have to, the social this services and all that.
Hmm.
We have no need for them because
Mm.
Yah has outlined for us a perfect way to live. And if we would
Okay.
only just follow that
If we
perfect
would
way of
follow the
living,
guidance.
we would be
Hmm.
in great shape. But
Okay.
of course, many people will reject that because religion has put such a negative spin on it. It makes it look like that's all stuffy and old fashioned and restrictive. But for me, it's like learning a game. When you learn how to play a game and you learn to
Hmm.
play it well, that's when you have true feeling. freedom
Okay.
is
Okay.
when you are able to play the game and play it to its utmost and be a master of it. And that's what Yah is wanting us to do. So my thing is, and I've just found that out. Um, I won't say recently, but I certainly understand now that
Mm-hmm.
how free we would be, how free we would be if we
Mm.
only followed everything that was supposed to be, that Yah has trying to teach us. And I just want to say one more thing because I know you have to go, but
Mm-hmm.
if we were to follow the diet, the right kind of diet that was prescribed for us in the Bible, we would not have the sicknesses that we have, and we would live a much happier, a healthier, a more vibrant life. So that would be my advice to young people. And and if I were to be teaching, I could
Mm-hmm.
show you step by step by step how this is so very, but you have to see it for yourself. I wish I was there to help you to see it, all you young people, old people, whoever you are, but I'm not. So you're going to have to study for yourself and you're going to have to find out. And at the end of the time, I am sure you will come to the same conclusion that I have come to.
Oh, that is so beautiful and so wonderful. And even though you're not, well, let me just say I have plans for the future for at least 2 or 3 times a season to have you come and give us some words of wisdom. That would be
Oh,
my desire
great.
on this show.
Mm.
And there's 13 weeks equals one season. And I'd like for you to come in and just give us a 5 minute words of wisdom because I
Okay.
understand the value of these words. So the you'll people will be coming to know you. I mean, oh Lord, our Crown Sister Shahyahrah has actually been the director of the educational system with the Hebrew Israelites community in Dimona, Israel, for some 44 years, I believe
Right.
she's told us.
Yes.
And prior to that, she was teaching in America for some 20 plus years. So that's how we got to the 65 years that she's been actually being in education. So certainly
Right.
these words of wisdom that she's given us, you heard it straight, coming from the mouth of Crown Sister Shahyahrah Bat Israel, and she
And
has
I,
given you the words that as she has received them from Yah. And basically, she's saying,
can
study
I say
to show
one more
yourself
thing?
approved. Absolutely.
One more thing. I wrote a book, and the
Okay.
book is called Journey to the Beginning. And in
Okay.
that book, I outline what we have created here in Israel, which is called the System of Divine Dedication.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can find that book, I think, still on Amazon, but
Okay.
certainly more of what I believe and how I feel about education, which is we like I say, we don't call it education, we call it dedication, because once a
Okay.
child is educated,
Dedication
they
versus
must dedicate
education. I love it.
themselves to Yahweh and you know. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that I did
Please do. And
have in
Crown
my book.
Sister, if you would be kind enough to give me that information, I will put it on the Facebook page.
Okay,
All
that
right.
sounds like a wonderful
With
thing. Yeah.
Amazon and exactly how people can find the book, including myself finding the book. Once
Okay,
again,
very good.
ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in to Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. And as you well know, we're inside of our Happy Mother's Day tribute, which is Happy Mother's Day to our custodians of wisdom. And today we've heard the interview from Crown Sister Shahyahrah Bat Israel. Thank you for being with us
Yay.
again. And we're going to have you back on the
Toda.
show again. Hello to
Well,
all the saints in Israel. I look forward.
thank
Okay, we're doing a little changing of the screen right now. Okay, here we are back in studio. Thank you again. That was Crown Sister Shahyahrah Bat Israel from Israel, who've been the educational director with the Hebrew Israelite Community there in Dimona, some 3,000-4,000 people strong. But I want you to know that while we were listening to her interview, someone very, very special to us has come into the studio. Now, it's been a while since he's been here, but that doesn't mean he hasn't been doing things. He's been doing many, 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 many other things. And we're just very happy to have him back on Queen Mother Speaks tonight. And that is none other than Professor Al Gaskins. Now, to speak a little bit about Professor Al, I'll say that he is a part of a group that we call the Sankofa Elders. It's Professor Al and Dr. Willie Butler together. And as you know, Dr. Butler has been out battling with some issues himself, and he's doing very well. But Brother Al is with us today. Okay. And the name Sankofa is a metaphorical symbol that's used by the Akan people of Ghana. And generally, it depicts a bird with its head turned backwards, taking an egg from its back. This expresses the importance of us, ladies and gentlemen, reaching back to knowledge gained in the past and bringing it into the present in order for us to make positive progress. For those of you who may not have met Professor Al, his experiences have moved him from being an elementary school teacher in Washington, D.C., to the founding dean of the Moi University School of Law in Eldoret, Kenya. And he concluded that work with retirement from the United Nations Development Program, working in Somalia and Sudan as a post conflict rule of law expert. Can you imagine that? Now, prior to his retirement, his principal place of residence was here in the Republic of Kenya, and that is where I met Brother Al. And currently, he's residing in the States, USA. Brother Al, thank you for being on the Queen Mother Speak show.
Oh, Queen Mother, thank you very much for that fine introduction. You know, as you were mentioning all of those things, I was wondering, who is she talking about? Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Thank you so much. And you're correct.
Yes,
It's been a while since I've had the pleasure of being with you in the audience.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed the segment of the interview that just transpired. You know, Shahyahrah, Queen Mother,
Yes.
great teacher. She really has so many important things to say. And when we talk about our elders, and in my instance, my contemporary, who are keepers of wisdom and of the faith, she represents that better than anyone that I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank you for having her on.
Thank
you. You know, this morning, if we've yet to do so, Queen Mother, I'd like us to take a brief moment to give our respects and condolences to the families who have lost loved ones due to the murders of Black people and indeed a couple of white Americans as well. A few days ago in Buffalo, New York, as well as yesterday, the killing of the children and teachers in Uvalde, Texas. Can we do that, if you will?
Absolutely, we can at this very moment.
Okay. Thank you, Queen Mother.
Sure. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Right. So,
and in fact, no, go ahead, please.
No, I was just, I thank you for that moment. And I'll tell you, sometimes I just don't turn on the news, Professor, because it takes me to a space that I don't want to be in. But I certainly did hear about the latest shootings in America. So thank you for us taking a moment to acknowledge that. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, that particular incident, the two incidents indeed, Buffalo, New York, and yesterday in Uvalde, Texas, it brings us in many ways full circle to the initial discussions that we had on the Sankofa, by the Sankofa elders on your show. And that full circle talked about that the initial discussions, which I say full circle because this morning I wish to take just a moment, not long, because I know things have been going for a good while now, but just to revisit part of our initial discussions about the need to rescue and expand democracy in America after Donald Trump. Because what we're seeing now and what we've seen in the last few days, and I say now because it's still in motion, there is a genuine effort to overthrow democracy in America. Now, I'm not one to try to be an alarmist or to get people excited for nothing. The point of it is, anyone who witnessed what happened in the United States on January 6th when there was an attack on the American Capitol building, on our Congress, that was the most apparent wake-up call that we've had as a nation in many, many generations. Therefore, what I'm speaking of is not alarmist, is not excited, it's about us looking at today's reality. And so here we are. The need to rescue, which means that there are things about our democracy that we need to hold on to and to further develop. Rescue and expand democracy in America. The expansion goes to the aspects of American democracy that have allowed that allow loopholes within our democracy for the type of hatred, the type of effort to move this country from democracy to authoritarianism. You will note that there was an ongoing effort by members of one of our parties in the country, one of two, the Republican Party, along with those who are not members but support their push to reverse our democracy, to bring an end to the separation of powers by stacking the courts with people who do not hold democratic views. And then by using other aspects of the democratic process to stop the advancement of democracy. So we see here in America, we have a problem that is with us today, one that we hoped in our engagement with the civil rights movement in the 50s and 70s and our ancestors before that, one of which was mentioned by our guests who just went off, Paul Robeson. They laid the foundation for the civil rights movement that was then led by Dr. King. And we've continued on. We've seen Malcolm, we've seen many, and those two, Malcolm and Dr. King, were taken away from us by the very type of violence that we paid tribute to those who are mourning now and grieving. Okay, so it's here. So what do we have to do about it? The points that I just want to mention very briefly is referencing a book that's called On Tyranny. That was published just maybe 3 years ago, but it was focusing on what was happening in the US. It was written by a Professor Timothy Snyder. In his book on tyranny, and indeed it's not a very large book, he lays out 20 different things that people should seek to do to double check and to prevent our democracy moving and being transformed into authoritarianism. I'm not going to mention there's 20 points. I'll just mention a
Okay.
couple, and then we can carry on the discussion, if you will. The
Okay.
first thing, well, one of the things you mentioned early in is that when we see people saying things that when we consider their value, we first say, I mean, is what they're saying something that makes sense? I mean, is there such a thing? What are we talking about here when we talk about the replacement theory? That people of color are being brought into the United States for the purpose of replacing white Americans and taking over, not just physically replacing them by having more numbers, being the majority physically in the country, but also they're saying by taking over the government, the power of everything, even to the extent of a ridiculous statement that was made by one of the Congress people just a few days ago when we've been talking about the shortage of baby milk, not milk, but baby food, the food that
Formula.
small children take.
Yeah,
That's
formula.
correct. Thank you for the word. Formula. That's it. So one of the Congress people who's noted for her outrageous statements said that a part of an extension of the replacement theory is the fact that the Joe Biden administration is denying formula to white people and they're giving them to people of color. They're prioritizing them and we can't get it, which is a big untruth. It's a part of the big lie that is now being perpetrated by by former President Donald Trump. Okay, so then what Timothy Snyder says, we have to fight for our institutions. We have to keep them in a posture to perform as a democracy. And then he talks about other different matters. But one of the most important things that he notes is that we must believe the truth. And he also says we must keep our representatives, our leaders accountable, that they cannot go off and say things such as what I've just mentioned and do so without being held accountable for misspeaking and spreading ideas and thoughts that divide the nation. So when he says attention to the truth, essentially, and hold our representatives accountable when they speak and when they behave, he essentially is saying we have to become very serious critical thinkers. We have to ask questions about what they're saying. Does this make sense? Is it fair? What is the basis? What is the factual basis of your assertion? Where does it come from? And therein, we're talking about the need for us to begin to get our information upon which we make decisions from multiple sources and to challenge them to make sure that what is being presented is in fact true. Question authority. If they're speaking, make sure. And if they're writing, make sure they're speaking truth and challenge them when they don't.
You're making such a great point, Professor.
I'll stop there because, there are many, this gives rise to many thoughts and considerations. So Queen Mother, you may, contribute, if you will.
Yeah, and I was saying, one of the things that I've noticed growing up, I've kind of figured it out. There are certain people in life, in certain professions and positions that we hold as sacred to some degree. That could be pastors of churches, ministers, doctors. lawyers, teachers,
Yes.
and in some cases, even politicians. We don't like to think
That's
of
right.
those people as not being honest or not telling the truth or hiding the
Hmm.
truth or just not saying what's so. But
Yeah.
we've come to learn that things are not the way they used to be. People don't have as much integrity as they used to have about what they say and the way they act and what they do. So we're at a point now where we
Yes.
really do have to question all of these
Mm.
things and all of these people. I used to never go to the doctor and question anything the doctor would say. It would just be thank you. But I don't do that
Yes.
anymore. I haven't done that
No,
now
you
for over
can't.
a decade. I want to know
Hmm.
what it is you're saying, and you write all funny, and I can't figure that out. But tell me in plain English, and I'm going to write down what is it that you're really saying needs to be done here. And the same thing has now become true with our politicians. We have to hold them accountable. But so much has been gotten away with, okay, over these past few days, few years. And I would just even go as far as to say under the administration of the former man in the White House. So much has
Hmm.
gone down and happened that have been just out of this world, crazy, erroneous, should never happen until I'm not sure if we all know where the solidity of truth and ethics really is anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's been
I hear
so
what
much
you're saying.
wrongdoing that's been accepted now, or appears to be accepted, that I don't know if we know where the fine line is anymore.
Yeah, and Queen Mother, you're so correct. Recently, there was a study done, a survey, very recently actually, where Americans were asked whether or not Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States.
Mm,
Now, would you believe that 30% of those who took that survey, 30% of
mm,
Americans don't believe, they question whether or not Joe Biden was legally, was properly elected president.
wow.
And that's a major aspect of democracy. That is the peaceful transfer of power by
Hmm.
way of the people voicing their opinion through elections.
Hmm.
And we know that more than 60 courts in the United States ruled that there was not any fraud, there was not any theft involved, there was not any illegality in the
Hmm.
election of President Joe Biden. 60 courts did that. But
Hmm.
as you just noted, when a lie is amplified by people who we have traditionally given a lot of trust to,
Yes.
that lie becomes dangerous. And when we speak
Yes.
of it being voiced by the former president of the United States, there are people who are listening to him. But at the
Hmm.
end of the day, when we try to boil down, why is it that they're believing this? What is going on?
Yes.
One of the things that we know is that there is a tremendous amount of fear in existent in the white community in the United States.
Hmm.
And that fear is reflected in its ugliest form by what they're now calling the white replacement great theory or the
Mm.
replacement theory.
Okay.
And again, they're saying that this theory of replacing white Americans with people of color, particularly so that they can cast the majority of votes, that it is nothing more than a great plan on the part of the Jewish people. Would you believe that? And we all
Ooh.
know that historically the Jewish people have been targeted. and discriminated against in many ways, simply because they're Jewish.
Mhm.
So this replacement theory, the great replacement theory, has at the basis of it all, the cause, the movers as being Jewish people. Now, I'm not saying in any way that if we examine the engagement of the state of Israel, which is a Jewish state, that
Mhm.
things are going in a way that respects the human rights of the Palestinian people.
Mhm.
No, but I am saying that this so-called great theory, replacement theory, is incorrect and it is a lie. The Jewish
Mm.
people are not doing that. So we need to challenge that. However,
Mhm.
that feeds into the fear that many of our brothers and sisters who happen to be white Americans believe. They're
But let me
nervous.
make sure I'm hearing you properly. You're saying that the replacement theory is a theory about a plan on the part of the Jewish people, as if the Jewish people are the ones planning this. But in fact, the Jewish people themselves have been discriminated against. So they're not doing
Exactly.
this, there's somebody else doing it, but using their name, using their race
Mm,
as
yeah.
the ones who are
Yeah.
making this happen. And you're saying this is what's putting a lot of fear in the hearts of a lot of the white American citizens.
Yeah. Let me just make a correction if I misspoken. What I'm
Okay.
saying is the theory itself is a lie. There is no effort
Okay.
on the part of anyone, be they Jewish or be anyone else, to bring people of color into the United States to get rid of white people from leadership per se. No, that's not, that itself is the lie. But I'm saying the
Okay.
lie is compounded by them saying that Jewish people are the ones who are making this happen. They're the driving force. So we have a couple of lies here. The main lie is there is not a theory or nor an effort in any way to replace white people
Okay.
in
Okay.
America. Now,
Okay.
what we have happening, obviously, is America being America.
Mm-hmm.
We have people immigrating because they want a better way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we look at the initial settlers in the United States, they left Europe in order to get a better way of life. Some of them did
Mm-hmm.
not leave by choice. Some of them were either get on the boat or go to prison
Uh-huh.
because of the crime you've committed. But at the end of the day, the the ancestors of the Americans who identify themselves as American born whites
Mm-hmm.
were people who came to the US for a better life. They were immigrants. And
Mm-hmm. To
our
begin
doors
with.
have
Okay.
always been open for people to come to take advantage of the democracy that allows anyone to do better and have a better life.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell the full truth because not
Yeah.
everyone who's in America came by choice.
Yes.
Those of us who are the descendants of enslaved people, we didn't come by choice,
No, we
but
didn't
we've
come
been
by
here.
choice.
And we,
Mm-hmm.
we are indeed, as Paul Robeson would say, this land is as much as ours as anyone else.
That's right.
So, but, that's the full story. But at the end of the day, we are at a moment where people in places of power are advancing this notion of the great replacement theory. They're
Mm.
doing so by taking steps that are undemocratic,
Mm-hmm.
that in fact will lead us into, if they continue to make these laws happen,
Mm.
it will take us to a full-fledged authoritarian government, which favors only one group, usually.
Okay.
Now,
Authoritarian. Well, that's what
exactly,
authoritarian is. It's not about the
exactly.
all or the whole. It's about one.
Hmm. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Wow.
And unfortunately, there now is a substantial sector of the Christian members. What do they call them? Born again Christians, or they basically are the more or the most conservative aspects of the white religious believers who practice in churches that have embraced this great theory of replacement. Let me restate that. There are many white Americans who call themselves Christian, who truly believe in this great replacement theory. And hence they are supporting the falsehoods, the lies, the untruths that are being advanced by their elected politicians. And they are even putting these people in office. We saw many of them raiding, were part of the insurrection of January 6th. Attacking our Capitol building.
And from what I understand,
this is a Christian thing to do. There's a lot of confusion.
Well, from my understanding through the Tulila report, a lot of those people who participated in the insurrection slowly but surely are being brought to court because there's so many underlying issues and things that occurred that we didn't see with the average eye. How many people were actually brutalized that day? How many people actually died?
That's right.
And all of the cover-ups of people denying what they did, even though you have them on tape saying whatever they said. So it's just a huge mess. But it looks like America is taking time to take a look at that.
Yeah, you're very right. Particularly the January 6th committee in our House of Representatives. They are on the case, as we say. And soon they're going to do public hearings to present what has been uncovered. Because as they say, what's done in the dark will come out in the light.
Will come to the light.
Starting June the 9th. That's right. About June 9th, we will see public hearings of the work of the House of Representatives Investigative Committee to deal with the truths, what has been, as you said, that has been hidden, not spoken, is coming out now. It will come out.
And we need to have this. We need to have this action happen just as much as that conspiracy theory is out there. People need to hear what the House of Representatives have come up with in terms of all of those involved in the insurrection. And at the same time, I want to take this moment and just plug for those of you who are upset, mad, angry, pissed off about everything that's going on. Believe it or not, there is a way where you can make a difference, and it's called the vote. The VOTE. Get out the vote. So I'm going to take this moment to encourage you, wherever you are, overseas or in America, wherever you are, get yourself registered and vote, because that will and does make a difference. It may not solve everything you want it to solve, but it does make a difference in the right direction where we need to be going now. And if we've got to stand up, we've got to stand up and cast these votes. As a person living overseas, I am very much active with the Democrats Abroad Committee. And part of what we do is volunteer work in calling people and inviting them to vote. So if you want to be involved, go to Democrats Abroad. For those of you who are abroad, democratsabroad.gov, and you can become involved. And for those of you in America, just go to the Democratic National Party, click on that, Google that, and you'll find information how you can become involved with getting yourself registered to vote or being a volunteer to help others. Okay? Thank you for that. Al, I'm delighted, Professor, to have you back today. It's just a good feeling
Thank you so
to
much.
have you back in the house.
Thank you so much.
Um,
You
and
know, I'm
as I will
pleased to
say to
be.
you,
Okay.
yes, yes. Now we do have one other mother, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading a note here. We did have one other mother that we didn't get to cover, but because of the time right now, we're not going to cover it today. We'll have to bring her in another day. Um, okay, and the things that she had to say to us, and we'll just feature her. We'll just feature her in that way. Okay. So
Amen.
what I want to do is just make a few mentions that Nana, who did the Underground Railroad tour in Dallas, Texas, will be sharing her show with us
Oh,
in August of this year. I want to say that the Soul Vegetarian Restaurant is open and ready to take your order each and every day. You will not believe the wonderful food that comes out of Soul Vegetarian, and it is good food and vegan food. I ask you to give it a try. 0742-654-810. And then there's Lucille's Kitchen. Now, if it's something sweet you want to eat, you want to visit Lucille's Kitchen. That's 0732-567-327. I want to remind you once again to tune in to Bonga Dada Bonga tomorrow, May 26th, Thursday at 7 p.m. Just click on facebook.com/Bonga Dada Bonga for this new women's platform. And what they're featuring is Kenyan women in politics. Kenya has just come through its primaries. They had over 5,000 women running for office. But now that we've come through the primaries, those numbers have dropped to some degree. Slowly but surely, we're finding out about those numbers. But more important for you, by watching the Bonga Dada Bonga show, you can get to meet who some of these politicians are who have come through the primaries and they are now vying for a seat with the Kenyan government. I also remind you that
amen.
Kenya's blood ambassador, Miss Aisha Dafala, is reminding you that the Kenya blood banks are running dry. Please, please visit the nearest blood bank and donate some blood because when the blood's dry, if there's nothing there, we can't serve anybody. So I'm asking you through our ambassador Aisha to go and make a blood donation. Okay. Last but not least, if you have male elders in your family, 80 years plus, get in touch with us at Queen Mother Speaks for our Father's Day programming. We will do the same thing with fathers that we did with the mothers, and that is feature some of them on the show during the month of June. But in order for us to feature them, we must have some. We must have some. So please send us two photos and a little bio data, and we'll take it from there. Send it to us at info.queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com. Also, I want to remind you that Queen Mother Speaks will be celebrating its second anniversary in the month of July. So we're busy putting some things together, and we are going to have a fundraiser so we can help some young women. More on that in upcoming episodes. So over the next 5 weeks, we will be presenting to you men and women who've done very innovative things. And of course, we'll also have a special show with the Father's Day celebration. Okay. Next week on Queen Mother Speaks, with our Father's Day, we'll have two elders, the late Mr. Alfredo Marcus Barbie, and the late elder statesman, the Reverend Floyd King. We will have them in the show next week. We'll also have our free online breath workshop, and the Talila Report will be rocking it with news on what's going on in the White House and what's happening with that insurrection. We want to take another moment on closing and to just thank the Wilborn sisters for our Wakanda crowns that we wear from time to time. Our jewelry is from the village of Achiavi in Ghana, also jewelry from the US, and of course, definitely jewelry from right here in Kenya. Our fashions are designs from Ghana. Today we are wearing a Ghana design. Thank you very much. And we also wear designs from the USA and Kenya. Our inspirational verse, which we didn't do today, is from Hillside Chapel and International Truth Center. Our Living Abroad flyer is by permission from Payapa Art Center, right here in Nairobi, Kenya. Our virtual room is supported by Street Code and StreamYard. I am your host, Ella Dashanaba King, for Queen Mother Speaks. Our co-host, Nana Efua Adezawa, also known as Terry Kemp, is out of the house today. We hope she'll be back with us next week. The Talila Report is always brought to us by Mrs. Elizabeth Myers and the Sankofa Elders with Professors Al Gaskin and Willie Butler. I want to thank our studio guests who came in today. Aisha, on behalf of Mama Fima, 133 years old. And our second guest, also Mama Ama Frimpoaa, will bring her up at another time for sure. But her grandson was very instrumental in helping us to get the interview from her. So right now we're going to end our show the way we always do, by sending love into the world, because we know that love is not love until it's given away. So right now we're going to give a kiss with our left hand, a kiss with our right hand, and then a kiss with both of our hands. And we're sending you this from the heart. Are we ready, Professor?
Yes,
Are we
ma'am.
ready? Okay, here we go. Left
I'm
hand.
ready.
Here we go. And the right hand.
All right.
All right. And now we're going to take
Okay.
both hands. We're going to send this love into the
Oh
universe.
boy.
And we pray that it lands on those who want it and need it with love.
Mm. To the
Thank
world.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I like to close on our Mother's Day tribute with saying, to the world, you are a mother. But to us, Mother, you are the world. Thank you. Tune in again to Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. We're leaving the studio now, and we'll see you all
Amen.
next week, where we will be transitioning into programs talking about men. Send us the men, the information on those men. We like to profile them. Peace and blessings, and so it is. Thank you.